All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Belly Up series. Dom Santino alongside David Westergreen here on 3 Wide TV and Belly Up Sports. Of course, 3 Wide TV bringing us the production here tonight with this one in the BatFlip podcast. 40? We are here ready to go with this one. Another race here in the ERSCA season. We saw a wild one last week in the days gone by 200. And we apologize, David Westergreen battling some Wi-Fi issues here, so he'll be in and out as much as he can tonight, but we're getting ready to go green here with this one in just a few moments. Appreciate everybody tuning in here. We're still in the middle of our qualifying session right now as we speak, or just going into qualifying as we speak.
Yo, yo.
All right.
Oh, Matt's here. Matt, take it away
guys.
with
Oh, there's a race going on now?
We are live. They can hear you.
Oh, I
they can also
apologize
hear
for
me.
I apologize being late, ladies and gentlemen. I just literally got done wrapping up my podcast. I thought the show was going to start a little later than it did, but I apologize for that. But I hope everybody's doing well. Thanks for having me back this week.
Yeah, Matt, glad to have you back in here. David and I still battling a little bit of Wi-Fi issues, but glad you could come in and fill in for David a little bit. He might join us here and there depending on what he can do from his perspective, but glad you could fill in and fill a need for us here with ERSCA.
Yeah, really do appreciate it. I had fun last week and looking forward to Sonoma today. It's going to be a lot of fun, 80 laps.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Interesting to see here who can bring this one. I know one name that's going to jump right to the front. We talked about him a little bit last week. He was a road course ringer last year and should have won one of our races and had some bad luck, and that's Nick Indelicato. It's going to be one of the cars to watch out for here tonight.
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing what the difference is between the mile and a half at Atlanta and the right and left-hand turns here at Sonoma, and seeing if these guys can adapt well to this setup and to the cars and manage their tires. Who can manage their tires? I mean, we saw last week that that track position was everything, especially late in the race. I wonder if it'll be the same tonight.
One of the big questions is going to be whether or not these guys can keep their cars on the track too. This car tends to be flying all over the place. The power is something that the drivers were complaining about, having difficult time picking up coming out of the corners, a little bit loose exiting. So I'd watch out for these guys to spin on corner exit if that's something that they're going to struggle with.
I think it will be interesting to see. I really do. It will be a lot of fun.
While we're on it, I do want to note that this is the older Sonoma, where you have that turn 4 segment, the little short chute that runs to that sharp turn 7. And that's definitely my favorite Sonoma layout. I think NASCAR is really going back to it this season, and I'm excited to see the 2011 COT cars back on it again.
Should be fun to see. I can't wait to see exactly what how the drivers will adapt to this. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
All right, so we are in the middle of qualifying here. We got a few cars right here on screen for you. Qualifying here, we got a few cars right here on screen.
And real quick, do you guys think it will be a tire issue, or who can keep the cars on the track throughout the course of the race here? Because, I mean, just watching qualifying, I'm just now kind of tuning into it right now. I mean, everybody seems to be tiptoeing here, and I think it's going to be interesting to see who can find that perfect line between tiptoeing and aggressive driving throughout the course of the race. I mean, it's an 80-lap race, which seems like a long time, but it's really not when a lot of stuff's going on.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. And as we see Rexing spin, I think there's going to be a lot of guys struggling with the the balance of the car over the long run. You know, when those tires start to fall off, they're still going to have to keep tiptoeing around and being very careful when they're entering that throttle input.
Again, I mean, very close times here. I'm looking at the top 5 right now, separated by a little more than a half a second. It's gonna be another. I think who figures it out first, but who can come from the back to the front first. I feel. I mean, it's gonna be fun to see. It's gonna be a lot of fun to watch here throughout the course of this race. It's gonna be great to watch.
Do we want to go ahead and give our picks here while we're still in qualifying?
Oh, I mean, if we're just basing it off of qualifying, that's going to be interesting to see. And that bit me last week in Atlanta.
I'll go first, and I'll pick. I'll steal the resident road course expert, Nick Indelicato, to get some revenge on after the Daytona Roval last year. Got wrecked out late. You know, he was pretty fast in practice too, and up towards the top of the board right now in qualifying. So Nick Indelicato, that's my pick. I would say.
I'd say that's a good pick. I mean, I didn't watch the race last week, but I know I mentioned his name a few times, or last year with the Daytona Road Course, but I know I mentioned his name a few times last week. I'm gonna wait and see here who my pick is. It's so tough because I mean, I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure out who everybody is, who the big players are in this race and in this racing series. But it's sure as heck is fun learning it.
All right, David, since you stole mine, I'm going to go with the guy on the top of the charts. And he's kind of come in here this season as a guy that's surprising people here and really putting a challenge and putting his name as one of the top contenders. I'm going to go with Andy Trupiano tonight.
Okay, well, since you guys made your picks, I'm just going to go ahead. This driver's in the 50 car starting 9th, Joe Francis. That's going to be my pick. Or
All
now
right,
10th.
I guess I'll make my pick now. I'm going to go a little out of the box here for tonight's race. I'm going to go with Cameron Rich. He's going to win tonight.
No way. Not
Wow.
Cameron Rich again.
Big surprise from Carlos here tonight. Going with number 2 on the charts, Cameron Rich. I mean, that's just a shocker for Carlos.
But realistically, I mean, it doesn't matter where you start; it matters where you finish. I mean, oh wow, we talk about going off the track right there in the 84 car.
That's how you end your qualifying lap right there. This guy right here is going to be a threat for the win too, I bet. Ethan Burrell. He's, I believe, he lost our race a couple of weeks ago, the last time I was here, by a very narrow margin at Rockingham.
I just love to point out here at the bottom of the scoring charts here, you can see their personal, I guess those are sector times right there, green sectors, but it falls off throughout the course of the lap as far as speeds, and that's going to be interesting to keep an eye on throughout the course of the race. It's just like Formula One. So that's going to be interesting to keep track of throughout the course of the race to see who's consistently running, if they're running consistent or if they're just blazing off fast times, if clean air is going to make a difference, if tires are going to make a difference. This is going to be a fun race to see, different from most definitely last week at Atlanta. Turner section 1 and 2, very fast.
Oh, he got really loose there coming to the line.
Yeah, he did, but that hurt him a little bit, but
I think it'll be something to watch, especially exiting that turn 11 hairpin with those guys putting the throttle down. That's going to be a spot where I think we see some spins and maybe a big wreck or two. Is that exiting turn 11, coming to the front straightaway where you saw Garen Turner get loose right there on old tires. That could really be treacherous.
now I'm sure ERSCA's raced here before at Sonoma, and it'd be my first time here. In the past, have you guys seen drivers be aggressive on the starts and the restarts of the race, or do you see him kind of tiptoe, considering there are both left and right hand turns, elevation changes throughout the course of the race?
I believe this is our first race at Sonoma.
Oh, it is.
But at the other road courses, these guys tend to tiptoe and sort things out early on. I doubt we'll see any early big stuff, but I've been wrong before, that especially with this car.
Right. It's such a unknown, especially at Atlanta. I mean, but it was such great racing last week. I don't foresee it being any differently than this week here at Sonoma. It should be a lot of fun. And again, guys, thanks for having me back. It's again, sorry I was late to the broadcast.
All right, looks like we're about done here with qualifying. Should be getting ready to move on to get ready for our race. Looks like Andy Trupiano is going to be our pole sitter. We'll give you the rest of the starting lineup here in just a minute. And there it is, in fact. Cameron Rich will start on the outside of row number 1. Nick Delicado, Matthew Bayuk in row 2. Jared Rexing, Chad Baird in row 3. Kwame Scott, last week's winner at Atlanta, starting in the 7th position. Ryan Lutz will start 8th. Seth Rawls will start 9th. And Joe Francis will be 10th. A couple big names outside the top 10 there in row number 6. Nick Massey and Damian Leininger. Looking back through the field, Matthew Weeks will start 13th. Scott Crump will start 16th. Hank Steinmiller and Gerald Campbell will be 17th and 18th. Ethan Burrell will start 21st. 23rd and 24th will be Josh Clark and Gary and Turner. Josh Adams will start 22nd. So we go throughout the rest of the field here. 25th will be James Heater. Johnny Thomas will start 26th. Zeshawn Durrell will start 29th. Mogard will start 30th. Michael Goodman will start back in 34th. Chris Worrell and Dallas Myhand will be on row number 18, 35th, and 36th. Then rounding out the field, Harry Talon, Richard Hines, and Austin Beers. 39 cars ready to go here. $40 laps here for this one.
Yeah, and these guys are going to need to pit, and I believe at least once, and the tires may necessitate that second pit stop. If we do happen to see a full course caution, I imagine everyone will be down pit road, though I'm not entirely sure that's necessary in this race.
In road courses past here with the ERSCA series, do we see a lot of full course cautions, or is it just local yellows that we normally see?
It's normally local yellows, but I do believe race control Johnny Eckert has the ability to throw the full course yellow if the track is blocked. So, we've seen some early big wrecks on these restarts when these guys put the throttle down. I think of Rockingham to start the race. So I envision that a track blockage is not impossible at this place.
And we saw a lot of this last week. We saw a lot of wheel spinning, especially coming off of the turns and going into the turns, especially turn 3 last week at Atlanta. I expect with this car and this package and the power that this car has, I feel like we're going to see more of the same. So I wonder if drivers learned from last week to kind of ease on the throttle by slamming it down to the floor. It should be fun to observe if any changes have happened since then.
You guys can feel free to direct me down to pit road. I'll kind of try to fill the Emily role as much as possible from last year, and looking forward to this one. I'll try to stay out of the commentary booth unless I've got something Something good to say, but
All right, it sounds like Carlos already directing Dave. We got a couple of things going on here as we go green with this one. Andy Trupiano, Cameron Rich going to lead us to the green flag. A good start here for Andy Trupiano and Cameron Rich both. They're going to pull away from the rest of the field here off the start as we head into our first left-hand turn. Up the hill they'll go. They'll snake to the right. Nick and Delicato into third. Matthew Bayuk in fourth. Chad Bear rounds out your top five at the moment.
Very clean initial start here to start this race at Sonoma for the ERSCA series. I wonder if they'll just keep it up throughout the course of the race. I mean, everybody seems to kind of happen what happened with the restart or the initial start in there. My fear is if everybody kind of tiptoeing at that initial start, it seems like everybody just kind of did that, found their place in line, and now just trying to get into that road course rhythm that we see in these road course races, trying to keep it on the all four wheels on the asphalt here.
Yeah, they've had some practice time with these cars and some qualifying sessions for sure, but whole new car here with ERSCA this year going to the COT car, so they're probably trying to feel it out in race conditions as well here. The first few laps might be a little calm before guys really start to get on it, and we saw last year when we got into road racing that you can get quite a gap here up front, and we'll see if Andy Trupiano, who's already put it up to 0.7 of a second, can stretch it here as we go throughout lap one.
Not only Trupiano get gapping the second place car of Rich right there, but holy cow, everybody seems to be just so spread out right now, and up to the 38th place car is 21 seconds back and Hines right there. It'll be interesting to see if that trend continues or if it is just one of those things where whoever's in front of you, say the second place car of Rich, if his laps are being dictated by the leader's laps and that just trickles down and that accordion affects throughout the field.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting to watch. I'm sure there's a lot of strategy going on between these guys. It's pretty tight back there, about outside the top five as we look throughout the field here. A little bit closer back through than we have up front. I mean, you look, there's almost 4 seconds between the first 4 spots. So looking at Nick Massey right now on your screen in that 48 machine.
Yeah, close, but it isn't like they're side by side and nobody feels really racy right now. Working lap 2 of 40. Everybody wants to kind of see where their car is and see if they could just maybe play that tire strategy. I wonder if a lot of this is conserving tires, vice just trying to find a rhythm too.
Looking at Johnny Thomas here in the 83 machine. Series president trying to make a move to the outside here. Might get hung up on the outside, lose a spot to the inside line. He'll slot back in.
But again, everybody's just taking their time, just kind of tiptoeing throughout this whole field right here. And that's really cool. Johnny Thomas is a professional wine taster. Huh, that's interesting. I learned something new about Johnny Thomas right there. I think right now everybody's just trying to find their place in line and trying to figure out their car and trying, especially now in race conditions. It's one thing to practice, another thing to qualify. It's a totally different beast to actually race and be in control of your car. I mean, you don't want to be the guy who runs off the course by any means, but you don't also want to be the guy to ruin somebody else's day right now, especially working lap 3.
Looking at Jared Mogard here. He's right behind Johnny Thomas, just 2 spots back.
But looking at the map here at the bottom right hand of the screen right here, you could just see how gapped up there were 4. It looks like 4 distinct packs. You have the leaders who just took off from everybody, and everybody else just kind of trying to find their place. But you could tell either the guys up front, the clean air is helping, or they just got a grip of this car and track very early on, and everybody else just kind of falling into line. Just seems to be happy where they're at right now, but wanting to get up there. And it's just going to be interesting to see the evolution of this race and if anybody can figure out. I think a lot of this is going to be coming up down to pit strategy and trying to gain positions on track. I really do.
Well, let me tell you, one guy's on the charge right now, or at least closing in. Cameron Rich has cut that lead almost in half. He's got it inside 7/10, inside 6/10 of a second now. It's obviously going to give and take a little bit, but he is trying to close in on Andy Trupiano, your race leader here. 47 car maybe has felt it out, got the handle of things now, and is starting to try to challenge for this race lead. So you're right on board with him. He closes really close in there on that turn. Come back to the stripe.
And again, playing very conservative there, Cameron Rich there. He could have put the bumper there to our leader, but he chose not to, racing him very clean, especially early on in the race. I mean, we are only on lap 5. We're barely, into this race. And as we look at a spin right there.
Scott Crump and the 51 machine looping it out.
Now,
interesting to see what happened there.
Now, if in ERSCA, if you cut a corner, does race control see that, and do they make you slow down and give that position back or give the time back?
David, do you know a little bit more? You are there.
I am there. I know that iRacing itself will not let you cut the corner. But Scott Crump wouldn't have gotten a time penalty there as he was already slow from spinning out. But that was that problem area exiting turn 11 that I mentioned in the pre-race show.
Yeah, I mean, turn 11 has always been notorious for these spins. It's a slow corner. I think it's for Fillmore, it's like a deceptive corner, like a reverse Martinsville, and you're coming down there with a head of speed. And especially if you're trying to pass another vehicle, you're trying to gain that position very quickly on them. And it's very easy, I feel, to just let loose, over brake it, under brake it, and lose control right there. And these drivers are doing a great job right now, as we see, I believe the 07 car hit a cone there right there at the entrance of pit road. It's interesting. It's just great to see, and amazes me again to see these drivers control these car of tomorrow cars like they are. It's really great.
Yeah, that's Jared Rexing we're looking at right now. At 07, he's currently running in the 9th spot, trying to track down last week's winner from Atlanta, Kwame Scott, who's having a good run again here, up in the 8th position.
Yeah, good job, Kwame.
Nick Massey in the 10th position rounds out your top 10.
And it's getting racy up front. It's really getting racy up front. I think Rich's car has definitely Rich has a better, it seems like, feel for this track right now. And he looks like he's been racing road courses for a long time. I know if I was out there, I would have already been lapped, just being spinning out all the time, because I'm not a really good road racer. But Rich right there seems to be figuring it out right there in second place, trying to make a move right here for the lead.
Here he comes to the inside. Cameron Rich going to make the pass in that tricky corner David was just talking about. Gets around Andy Trupiano in the 47 car out front now. Don't look too soon, though. Here comes the 01 car of Nick Indelicato. He started to close in a little bit, too. That's David's pick. A car that probably should have won the Daytona road course last year after dominating. He's starting to close in and see if he can put his hat in the ring, too.
Now, here's the big question that I propose to everybody. Does Cameron Rich start driving away now and creating more of a gap on the second place car of Trupiano?
Well, right now it's at about half a second the gap as they work through the road course. We'll see if that grows over the next lap or so. Will be interesting to see.
I tell you what, Trupiano is not letting him get away from him. He's keeping him right there within a half a second, which is exactly what you want to do. Keep the pressure on that first place car, because I feel like you're just waiting for him to mess up. It's all about rhythm here at road courses. It's all about shifting points, braking points, acceleration points. But it doesn't seem to me that Cameron Rich is making too many mistakes, already taking that car up to the lead right there. Just be interesting to see how everybody else adapts to the conditions here on the track right now.
Carlos has got us queued up on a possible battle here. That's Matthew Bayou, Kwame Scott, and Jared Rexing. We've looked at it a couple times, but there's 3 cars nose to tail right now. Rexing takes a look to the inside of Kwame Scott coming out of the corner there, not close enough to make a move. 3 of the closest cars on track right now, just inside your top 10.
And again, great car control by Kwame Scott, last week's winner at Atlanta. Getting a little wheel spin right there. Looks like coming off the turn, but he gathers it up quickly and no room for the 07 to pounce right there. But still a great battle right here. Great car controls for all 3 of these drivers right now, racing for the 7th position. And I'm surprised quickly on in this race. I guess these guys had a lot of practice, and I know a lot of setup stuff was talked about on the chats and Discord and stuff, but it feels like everybody's took the time to practice this track. I feel so more than any track right now that we've raced so far in this season of ERSCA.
I think it's with every track we're racing right now. These guys, looks like Bayou. Yep, there he goes. There goes Kwame Scott around as well.
Oh, no.
Ayuk smoked the tires coming in there, almost looped it out, and then I think Kwame Scott might have locked it up trying to avoid that and spun it out himself. He'll lose a couple positions as he gets it rolling again in that number 99 machine.
And I feel like the big thing for Kwame Scott right now is to keep a positive mental attitude. Yes, that was a mistake, but you got to shake that one off. It's probably one of the toughest things to do, especially on road courses, especially on a road course as tough as Sonoma. But if you keep your good mental mindset right there, I think he could still squeak out a very good finish here at the end of the race.
Still a long way to go, not even a quarter of the way through this one yet as we're closing in on that point, but still got quite a bit of racing to go. Here goes Rexing to the inside of Bayou. Took a look, couldn't make it work. He's all over the back of the 29, though. We got a battle here. This is for the 7th position.
And the 07 has some left front damage right there. I don't know if this if Sonoma is really known for being an aero track, but I wonder if that will affect his handling throughout the course of the run, especially with tire wear.
Looks like Bayou has been able to pull away just a little bit, get some breathing room, but we'll watch here as he enters the corner. This is where he almost looped it out last time. Clean through the corner this time, right there.
Very clean.
On the inside, and he'll hold on to that 7th position for another lap. Rexing going to take a look here to the inside, though. Here he comes. He's going to make the pass pay off. He's up to 7th, Bayou back to 8th.
And he made 07 of Rexing made that look very easy. He just pounced perfectly. Perfect timing on that pass.
It's now Boltzer there in the 9th position, looking to get after Bayou. And wonder if those tires may be wearing out a little bit. When Bayou locked it up, he's starting to fade maybe just a little bit here. So Francis back inside the top 10. Looking back through the field here as we look at the 63 machine. Now we look at Ethan Burrell in the 37.
Guys, just want to report real quick from pit road. Mark Whitley took that EOL because he was blinking to start the race. So he went to the back, tried to keep everybody safe. Seems like he hasn't had any problems since the beginning of the race, though. So I'd keep an eye on the 77 car. Maybe he'll make his way back towards the front.
And that's unfortunate. And that's the thing with iRacing that you're going to get. Sometimes you're going to get those technical issues that you just can't avoid. And that's very unfortunate, especially at the start of the race and you're ready to go. You qualified, and then all of a sudden you're blinking. It's frustrating, and really not much you could do about it. And sometimes it happens at the worst possible moments, and it bit him right there.
And we look through on a few cars there. You saw Ethan Burrell, Matthew Weeks, Hank Steinmiller. Now we're looking at the tire here of Cameron Rich, your race leader, who is pulling out by 0.7 of a second over Andy Trupiano. So he's expanded the lead a little bit, but not too significantly. Really, the big story is Indelicato has fallen off the pace by about half a second. He had closed in to about 1.2 seconds. Now he finds himself about 1.7 seconds back.
just kind of a slow race right now. Just kind of really, I mean, everybody's just trying to figure out the track. And I think if you figured it out by now, if you're up there like Cameron Rich, you figured out the track. Now you're just trying to find that rhythm as he is extending his lead, not by significant amounts, but by 7/10 of a second, which is an eternity, I'm sure, here at the road course of Sonoma. It's just going to be fun to see as we see what we got here.
It's going to be different lap times here between Cameron Rich and Trupiano. So you can see lap 11, Trupiano is just a couple hundredths of a second slower than Cameron Rich. So that's how much the lead's expanding each lap for Rich. Lap 8 and lap 9, Trupiano is a little bit faster, but now Rich has been able to kind of balance it out a little bit and expand his lead ever so slightly.
And I think that gap really comes down to if one can figure out the gap of the cars and in the position that they have on the track. It's just really the clean air that comes there.
And another car that's kind of, two cars that have really snuck up here inside the top 5. I think Carlos has shown videos of them, but we haven't talked about them. Chad Bear into the 4th position now, and Ryan Lutz into 5th. There's Bear in the 91 machine right there in 4th, and I believe, I might not be 100% correct on this, but I believe Chad Bear did end up winning Daytona last year after the Indelicado incident, or he had something to play in. I remember talking about him about something, so
You did.
He did win, David? Was that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought so. So he's another guy that knows his way around road courses, and he finds himself inside the top 5 right now.
Do have a report from Pit Road. Cameron Rich, very happy out front. Johnny Thomas reporting that the tires aren't really wearing all that bad at all. But it is going to be close on gas to make it to the end from here. So these guys were thinking they could maybe do it on one stop, but they're not really 100% sure. Cameron Rich doesn't want to do it on one stop. He said that it would be uncomfortable, and he is probably thinking about pitting. Whether or not that results in him actually pitting is a whole nother story, but as of right now, Johnny Thomas happy, said it's just really difficult to pass.
Now, I wonder if you were Cameron Rich up there in the front lap, already starting to hit lap traffic here, at what point do you see these drivers up front and throughout the rest of the field pit? Do you pit halfway through the race, which is coming up here in 7 laps, and just go the other half of the race with a new set of tires? Or do you, if you're further in the back, maybe short pit to try to gain some time? I mean, times haven't really fallen off, I feel, too much, except if you're in traffic. It really depends on if you're in traffic or not. But I wonder when that exact time if you were wanted to pit, where would you want to do that at?
I would
My
definitely.
wager would.
Oh, go ahead, David. Go ahead, David.
My wager would be lap 20, but let me go ask some drivers and see if I can pull in an answer for you.
I like it. Well, it looks like the 29 car right there is probably thinking he wants tires sooner rather than later right there, as I saw his wheel spin right there at the corner of the screen. But look who's catching up here.
Yeah, Matthew Bayuk trying to hold on to that car with all he's got right now as we go on board with Andy Trupiano and close in on Cameron Rich. He cut it there through that corner down to 0.3 of a second, but now Rich able to pull away a little bit.
And he's
back to 0.5, and now here goes back up to 7, and Trupiano will close in again.
And the lap car is going to play a factor in that. And the longer we go in through this race, the green flags that we're going to be seeing here, ERSCA not having stage racing here, we're going to see, I think, towards the end of the race, especially at the end of the race, possibly lap traffic play a factor, and fresher tires might come into factor right there for grip level as far as braking and acceleration off the corner.
So, Matt, going off of, I know David's doing some research right now, but I would not expect anyone probably to pit before lap 20. I'd figure you'd want to get your new set of tires as fresh as possible, especially your race leader, Cameron Rich. I'd expect halfway bonus points at lap 20, you'd pick those up. And then depending on what's going on behind him, you might come in. But David's back from pit road. David, do you have an update?
Funny you say that. That's exactly what Ryan Lutz said. He was looking to pick up his halfway stage points and pit the lap after. Lutz says you can make it all the way on gas, but he's certainly not going to try to because the tire fall off will just be too great. So 36 car looking to come in after he picks up those top 5 stage points.
Now, I wonder, just out of curiosity here, do you guys think of anybody out there in the field crazy enough to say, if I can make it on fuel and I can conserve the tires if I'm further back in the field, why not stay out and try to maybe get a surprise top 5 finish, maybe a top 10 finish out of this, especially if you're back there in the 20th position?
I think there's a lot of guys who are considering it. I think the opposite strategy is also being considered by some of the guys out there. Hank Steinmiller mentioned perhaps pitting early before lap 20 to try to maximize those fresh tires and get away from the traffic if you're in it.
Yeah, and traffic, I think, is going to end up playing a factor in this, especially as the race goes on, tires wear down. You want to keep that position, especially if you're Cameron Rich up there in the 47 machine. It's going to be a patience game, especially once we go later into the race. I don't know what the trap map is. I don't know if Carlos could bring up the position of all the cars on the track real quick to give us an idea of maybe where they're going to come or where they are on the track. But I think that's going to play a big factor in the decision here, as Carlos does bring it up on cue. Thank you for that.
Oh, Matt, you weren't with us last year when we were at Daytona, but that's exactly what determined the race. And Delicado was winning the race. He had it was a significant lead. I think it was 30-some seconds or something.
It was a minute. It was a minute lead.
Yeah, maybe a minute popped in my head, but I didn't want to go there until I was 100% sure. So thanks, David. It was a minute lead for Indelicado, and he got into a lap car that was somewhat trying to get out of the way. Didn't know he was there and ended up totaling Indelicado's car out, and he didn't even get to finish the race. And I think there was only like 2 or 3 laps left to go, as we see Scott Crump spin out once again.
It almost got just rammed by the 63 car there. I think the 63 car locked it down. If anything, he might have, I don't know if he flat spotted the tires right there, but the 63 might be considered coming in a little bit early to try to get some fresh Goodyears on that car.
Well, that's Hank Steinmiller who said that already. I'm going to go get Hank's thoughts on what he just came across there. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Why not? At this point, you're running back in the back of the field. If you're not in the top 10, why risk it? But
there it is, Scott Crump, who's spun out twice already today. He's going to be the first one down pit road here.
And that car
51 machine.
That car looks like it's been in Darlington and not Sonoma right there on the right side. It looks like he's got a Darlington stripe, but we're not even close to Darlington. We're on the completely other side of the country there.
Battle for the lead. Andy Trupiano is caught back into Cameron Rich. Looks like he got a little loose there trying to work that outside lane. We'll see if he can make the same run Cameron Rich did to take the lead away from him. It looks like Rich going to be strong back to the stripe here and hold on for at least a little while longer.
And Trupiano has a very strong car, as we see. He knows how to run this course. It's apparent that he knows what he's doing. He's being very patient, running down Cameron Rich. This is such a great view, right? As Carlos brings up the in-car camera right here, this is such a great idea of just how he's got a handful right there in the steering wheel from what it looks like. But man, he is just holding on to that and just trying to be aggressive, but not go after him too aggressively, I feel, because they know the pit stop's coming up here soon.
All right, David, what's Hank's update? Is he coming in?
No, he's not. He's said the car's turned sideways right in front of me. But I thought there would be a better quote there. Unfortunately, there was not. But they do think that saving fuel, making it to the end, might be the key down there. The strategies may be getting updated. I'm wondering if some of these guys up front who pit may not have enough time to catch somebody if a guy like Ryan Lutz ends up deciding to stay out.
That should be interesting to see. Now, I wonder, too, if anybody's thinking about, instead of 4 tires, why not 2 tires? We saw that work this past weekend at Las Vegas for Alex Bowman and taking 2 tires, but I think it's too early in the race to go. We're just about at halfway.
We've only really seen one car come down for tires, and that was Scott Crump, and he definitely wore those tires off that 51 car, spinning out twice. But interesting thing here. Oh, we got a car barely hanging on there. Is that Josh Adams in the 95 machine? I think it was. So here we go. Looking at our two leaders who have absolutely just ran straight away from Nick and Delicato, up by quite a few seconds here, 6.9 seconds, on the verge of 7 plus. So they have definitely started putting a blistering pace down on the rest of the field. Good battle up top here. That's Ryan Lutz, Seth Rawls, Jared Rexing, Joe Francis on nose to tail here as they come through. Again, Carlos killing it with the multi-cam car around, Rexing into him.
Oh no.
That looks like Zishan Dura that spun out, and Rexing just had nowhere to go. Hits him right on the right side door panel.
And Rexing's day goes from bad to worse. He already had a little bit of contact earlier in the race and now just totally clobbers and T-bones another car. It doesn't seem like, he just might be out of his rhythm right now, racing right now. Uh-oh.
A car blinking off the screen right there, too. Holzer having some trouble blinking on and off as we got closing in on the halfway point here. And Trupiano looked really loose out of that corner. And
Yeah,
he's
these
lost
guys were
significant time to Cameron Rich.
those guys were interested in not pitting here, but I still can't help but think that it's probably going to be in their best interest to pit. You know, the tire gain is just going to be so great, and they're going to be struggling to hold on to these things through so many corners. Oh, contact maybe.
Seth Rawls all over the back of Ryan Lutz here, trying to look for a position that would be for a top 5. We're closing in. We're going to hit 20 here, so next lap around will be our halfway point. All right, so here they all come. Trupiano, Indelicato, Chad Bear, 3 of your top 4 drivers, leaving Cameron Rich out to dry here. Does that now put Cameron Rich in a situation where he's going to have to come down pit road next time by?
That 100% forces his hand right there. If you're Cameron Ridge, you know those guys are going to be coming, especially the consistency they've been having all race. That forces his hand 100%. And I get it. This is a strategy call. He's giving up bonus points right here, but at the same time, he's looking at that win. And I think this is a good move right there. Because he's not outside the top 10 yet. He still might get those stage points if he keeps up there. And Trupiano isn't even out of the top 10. He's running 9th right now. So I would say sacrifice. That was a really good strategy right there because everybody else in front of him has to pit.
Seth Rawls now in 2nd. Ryan Lutz in 3rd. Joe Francis 4th. And Jared Rexing, your top 5. We'll see if anyone decides. And here he comes. Here comes your race leader, Cameron Rich, down pit road. We just talked about it. Matt just brought it up. Cameron Rich having no choice other than to come on down pit road this time after the 3 guys behind him come down for fresh tires.
But he still might be able to squeak out the halfway bonus points here at the top.
Seth Rawls coming down pit road as well. Looks like Ryan Lutz stayed out. He'll inherit the race lead. And David mentioned it. Lutz said he might be changing strategy here. We'll see how much it changes now that he's seen all the guys come out in front of him and come down pit road. Does Ryan Lutz stay out here and try to win it, or does he come down pit road next time by?
Why not throw the dice right here? I mean, he's got a 3-second lead, over a 3.5-second lead. Can he hold on to that lead for that amount of time?
The big question is the guy sitting in 4th place right now, Andy Trupiano. He's the highest driver right now with fresh tires. He beat Cameron Rich through the pit stop, so he comes out ahead of Cameron Rich, even though Rich came out a lap later. You see it right there. Trupiano leading Cameron Rich. They're battling for 4th and 5th. But how much is that lead going to shrink for Ryan Lutz to Andy Trupiano as he makes his way through? Trupiano closing in on Nick Massey right now for 3rd.
And now we're seeing it right now. Everybody's kind of spread out all around the track. Trupiano is up to 3rd right now, but he has to deal with 2 more cars in front of him and possibly lap traffic.
And there goes Cameron Rich to the inside of Nick Massey as well. Looks like Joe Francis has gone down pit road, so that'll just leave Ryan Lutz, your race leader, the only one out to dry right now on that 36 machine. He has decided not to come down pit road. He's trying to hang on to a 5-second lead over Andy Trupiano, and that lead is closing pretty quickly.
And I think his saving grace right now is Cameron Rich and Trupiano's out there, and they're going to be racing each other for what they think is going to be the win. If Lutz's luck runs out or if his strategy fails to produce a win right here, they're hoping for him to come down pit road, make a mistake. But Lutz's saving grace right now is those 2 aggressive drivers right now, the 2 best drivers in the field right now, racing each other and burning out their equipment, keeping up with each other. So this could land in Lutz's hands.
I think Ryan Lutz, not Cameron Rich. Ryan Lutz is a sitting duck right now. We just saw it right there. Carlos just brought up the lap times. Andy Trupiano cut over 3.5 seconds off that race lead in a single lap. So it's down to 2.5 right now. It was at over 7. I think it was actually over 9 when Lutz inherited the lead. So Trupiano is closing in a hurry.
But Trupiano locked up that tire coming into turn 11 here. He is, I think, pushing really hard, and as he should, to try to catch Lutz here. But I hope he doesn't burn out his brand new equipment. I don't think it's going to really matter here. Like you said, Lutz is now a sitting duck. I mean, they're right there ready to pounce.
The question might be, is Cameron Rich actually in the best position? If he's letting Trupiano track down Lutz for the race lead and is saving his stuff a little bit by not pushing quite as hard as Trupiano, does Cameron Rich let Trupiano do the work and then take the race lead here late in the race? Here comes Trupiano to the inside. He's going to take a look. Not quite there yet, but inside half a second now. He is all over the back of Ryan Lutz, and Lutz knows his luck has expired.
He does. He knows coming into turn 11 here, Trupiano's going to make a dive to the inside here. So Trupiano just biding his time, trying not to make a mistake. Because, right there, mistake made. And that was what I was worried about. That's what I think Lutz is. Here we go.
Going to be interesting here. Trupiano going to dive inside. Lutz just going to let him go by. Cameron Rich takes a look to the inside, though. This is where he made that pass on Trupiano last time for the race lead. Can he get a good run into the corner here, up the hill?
This is going to be very interesting to see who does what, because Trupiano is pushing that car very hard. We've seen him lock up. We've seen him almost lose it right there. Is he pushing too hard to try to gap Cameron Rich right there? I think only time will tell right here. I mean, we're working on 16 to go right now. Can he hold on for 16 laps?
Here's a replay here. Carlos is dialing up, and this is where Trupiano made the mistake. Watch the closing speed by Cameron Rich in here. Goes right up on the back, thinks about making it 3 wide here in the corner, decides not to, follows Trupiano right on around. Shows him a little bit of a fender, and away we go.
And right there, it's that mistake. It's that mistake. You can't make a mistake right now, especially if you're leading the race. I'm with you there, Dom. Cameron Rich is in, I think, the optimal position. He's just waiting for him to make a mistake right now.
Coming to 15 to go this time. Rich closes in again there through turn 11, back to the finish line. Here it is once again. This is Andy Trupiano trying to go for the race lead on Ryan Lutz, your race leader, and seeing him hanging it out a little bit. on the throttle for sure. Look at the hands going all over the place trying to control that 7 car. He got it done. Matt said might have used up his stuff a little.
But I wonder if he used up his stuff to the point where it's going to cost him throughout the course of the race. Yeah, we saw him lock up. We saw him spin out, almost spin out right there. But he's hitting his marks. He's doing exactly what he needs to do. He's extending the lead here.
So now we just saw Trupiano and how he was wheeling the car to get around Ryan Lutz. Watch how calm Cameron Rich is here. That's the difference, and this is what we're talking about. Look at how smooth and nice and easy and controlled Cameron Rich is behind the wheel right there. Those two differences from the in-car view. Did that make a massive difference in their tire usage?
I think.
Does it play a factor here in the last 10 laps?
I think absolutely it does. You look at how calm and cool Cameron Rich was going around the Lutz right there, and you see the difference in car control. I mean, Trupiano's pushing it as hard as he can right now, and Cameron Rich is just waiting for them to make a mistake, waiting for Trupiano to make a mistake. But don't count out Lutz back there in third, because if both of these guys take each other out, he might be in the catbird seat.
Yeah, just trying to stay in touch with him right now. Only problem is he's falling off by 7.5 seconds and falling into the grass with Nick and Delicato, who's closing in, trying to get that third position away from him. Thought Nick might have a little bit more for these guys up front today, but he's fallen off the pace a little bit and hasn't been able to catch back up quite yet.
But you said it last year, it came down to a lapped car getting in the way and leading by a minute. It doesn't matter if you're leading by a second or a minute. You make a mistake, it doesn't. We could see a whole new race play out here with 5 laps to go. You never know here at pro courses.
Speaking of lap cars, there's one in the way right now that Andy Trupiano, your race leader, is going to have to deal with.
And Rich knows it too. Cameron Rich knows it, and he's just saying, "Okay, go ahead, race your stuff around that car." Because once Trupiano passes the lap car, whoa!
Oh, there he goes, race leader around.
Oh, wow! Rich, I don't think meant to do that whatsoever. I think that was a product of the lap car, but that changes everything.
Trupiano spins it out right now. He's still in the second position, but a ways behind.
Now, does Trupiano pit right now? Do you think he pits right now to try to, as we see a replay right here, and oh yeah,
yeah, got a little tap.
Yeah, I mean, that was obvious, but I don't think it was intentional. Obviously, I think it was just one of those things where, and I didn't see that. He got hit again.
Yeah, that's more significant than going around. That's some heavy nose damage there to the 7 car.
Oh, and can he recover from it? Can he hold on to second now? Because he's falling into the grass now into Calicato, who's now taking over the 3rd spot right now.
I don't know, David, if you want to try to go down and get Andy's thoughts on what just happened there or not, that's up to you. He might be a little...
That would be a risky call right there.
Might be a little hot right now at the moment.
Oh, man, that's just so unfortunate. Ooh.
And that's the worst part right there.
Yeah.
Going around's one thing, but getting that second contact there.
And there was nothing the 2 car could do with that. He's blocked the middle of the track and just hit him. It's just one of those things.
Wrong place at the wrong time there for both of them. There he is, and Delicato trying to track down Trupiano. He's done a good job to hold him off right now for the time being, but it's all Cameron Rich now with 12 to go.
Right now, Cameron Rich, if he didn't already put that thing on cruise control and just kind of glide through there, hit your marks, don't do anything crazy, it's going to be tough to catch him and pass him unless something just out of the ordinary happens right here. This has been a fast race. I mean, we're already with 12 to go. We've already ran over 30 laps. This is a fast race. This is way faster than I thought it would be.
And you thought Andy Trupiano was driving over the limit earlier. You got to believe that he's driving everything he's got right now, trying to catch back up to Cameron Rich. To the point where it could be very easy that he loops that car back out once again.
And when drivers get hot under the collar, especially in iRacing, where really a lot of the time your fate is determined by other people's actions, and we saw it right there between him and Cameron Rich, Trupiano, that is. It's just sometimes, and that's just racing, whether it's on virtual or right there on the track in real life. It's sometimes dictated by somebody else's action and over aggressiveness, or not even that, just a racing incident.
There's a pass right there on your screen by Seth Rawls getting around Kwame Scott, who's got himself back up to 9th after spinning out earlier. I wonder if he stayed out, though, or if he came down pit road, because you can see some guys like Holzer starting to close in now.
Man, if he did stay out, that being Scott right there, Kwame Scott, he is holding his own right there in the 9th position.
Closing in on 10 to go. Delicado got closer to Trupiano, but has not been able to close in and make the pass quite yet.
And Cameron Rich just continues to just steadily march away. And I wonder if Carlos can bring up the map again to see where he's at in comparison to other lap cars, to see if they will be a factor with 10 laps to go in this race.
There it is right there. Trying to find the 47 car. There it is. He is starting to enter heavier lap traffic than he currently has been in so far.
And does that cause the second place car, Trupiano and Delicado, to catch up to him? Because we've seen victims of unfortunate circumstances before, especially in turn 11. Do we see, with 10 laps to go, it's a possibility, though a far-fetched one, but Trupiano and Delicado are not out of this race by a long shot, and neither is the fourth place car of Lutz.
And Carlos, that almost looked like a replay. Was that Josh Adams going around again there in that same turn 11? It almost looked identical to a few laps ago where he did the exact same thing. We got Joe Francis working on Kwame Scott for a position. So Scott falling through the order a little bit. Holzer's got around him. Now Francis well, and I believe that's Rexing right there as well. So Scott backing up a little bit here.
But racing him clean, making sure he's not over driving the car. Just based on what I saw with him last week, he knows what he's doing. He's a very smart driver. He's just holding his own, making sure just to get a good finish here out of this race that has been, up to this point, somewhat calm, a little chaotic here and there, but he doesn't want to be part of that chaos. He just wants a good finish, waiting for maybe somebody to make a mistake up front here.
Guys, I jumped down and talked to Andy Trupiano. He said he's not the happiest right now, but it's something that happens. So he's out here trying to finish up this good run without losing up second spot.
And thank you for that. That was such a that's such a veteran move, I feel. I don't know how long he's been racing in ERSCA, but based on the sound of it, he's been racing iRacing for a long time. He knows the risk and rewards, and he's holding on to second very well and still maintaining a pretty decent gap to the third place car. He knows what he needs to do, and he's just trying to do it and getting all he can get out of that car in this race right now.
We're inside 10 to go here in the BatFlip Podcast 40 from Sonoma Raceway, and the lead has stretched out to over 8.5 seconds now for Cameron Rich over Andy Trupiano and Nick and Delicado. As we see them two on the screen right now. We're back towards the finish line. 8 to go this time by.
And look where the 47 is right now of Cameron Rich. He's starting to hit the tail of that snake, I should say. This could be, he's got to tread lightly here. He's got to tread very lightly here. Be very patient in this situation here.
And here we go on board. You can see the 4 cars up there in front of him battling side by side. Might slow up Cameron Rich a little bit, but biggest thing for Rich right now is just pick and choose how to get through these guys. Like we said, I know Matt wasn't here, but David and I
Yep.
got a battle for second here. Nick and Delicato has caught Andy Trupiano.
Which if Trupiano is smart here, and I'm butchering the name here, I know, because I've just been hearing it all race. I can't believe I keep butchering it. But if he's smart here, I mean, does he let Indelicato go here and just salvage a top 3 finish here?
Yeah, the gap between Indelicato and Lutz is double what it is right now between him and Cameron Rich. Another 9 seconds back to Ryan Lutz, almost 10 seconds now. And they're approximately 9 seconds back of race leader Cameron Rich. So that brings up a good point here. Obviously, Trupiano is going to want to battle for position here. And there we got a wreck. Looks like Scott Crump again going around. He's had himself a very rough night in that 51 car.
Yeah,
Back to that battle for second.
Take it. The 51 car did not have this race circled on his calendar. Looking forward to this. So it looks like Cameron Rich has worked his way through those lapped cars right now, and it's just smooth sailing for him, barring anything else crazy happening.
Still watching Trupiano and Indelicato here battle for the top 3 spots.
Trupiano running very well.
Chad Bear into 4th, Ryan Lutz in 5th. That rounds out your top 5, 2 guys that we've briefly hit on tonight, but have not talked about as much as our top 3, that's for sure. And here you go. There's going to be a battle for 4th. Chad Bear, Ryan Lutz.
Ryan Lutz, I'm pretty impressed by his drive right now. Hasn't pitted, to my knowledge. I think he just stayed out there for the fuel run and is just hanging up there in the top 5. And he's probably just based on the looks at it, gets a top 5 finish. If not, definitely a top 10 finish. Should he keep all 4 wheels on the track?
Yeah, top 10's probably secure, but top 5, not so much. Here comes Nick Massey. He's in 6th position, just a second back, closing in. And Ethan Burrell just went a lap down. That's surprising to see the 37 machine struggling so much today. Going a lap down here to race leader Cameron Rich with 6 to go.
I just jumped down to the Ryan Lutz and Damian Leininger chat. They both stayed out this whole time. Asked him how the tires were. Damian said they are on the car. So they're not having a good time right now. They're really hanging on.
That is such an appropriate response to that question. I love that response right there.
Damian's a guy we have not talked about at all today. He's currently in the 7th position, right behind Nick Massey. And
if my eyes didn't deceive me right there, Cameron Rich, our race leader, just kind of glitched out right there. Does that play a factor in what's going on here?
Definitely can. If it starts blinking and he gets a connection issue here, that would be one thing. Trupiano would be singing all sorts of praises, but Cameron Rich, not an issue. Not an issue you want to have at all. Johnny Thomas around this time. They've been racing just fine. Nice and quiet back there. No issues. With 5 to go. Brings up that race car a little bit. Michael Goodman coming down pit road.
At this point, Dom, do you think coming down pit road with 5 laps to go is just a desperation attempt just to try to maybe get a few stragglers out there on older tires?
Yeah, I don't think you're really going to get too much an advantage here on pit road coming with 5 to go unless there was some random caution to come out. But even that, I don't know how much guys would come down pit road here with 5 to go. Now coming to 4 to go as Cameron Rich comes back to the finish line.
Could you imagine if a caution came out right now with 4 laps to go in this race? That would just be an amazing finish, an amazing scenario. Nothing that Cameron Rich wants to see, but everybody else right there, I think, would love to see a caution right now to bunch up the field.
All right, Matt, you've been asking us questions here the last 2 days as we got to know the series. I'm going to ask you one here. Let's say your situation did come into play. Hypothetically, if you were Andy Trupiano, would you repay the favor to Cameron Rich?
You know, in what I've seen in this, everybody out there is such a head on their shoulders racer. They race each other clean. But coming down turn 11, I could see Trupiano putting a little bit of a bumper, not maybe wrecking him, but as a great Dale Earnhardt said, rattling his cages there. But I don't see him repaying the favor. But if the opportunity is there to, especially with the checkered flag flying, I could see Trupiano maybe saying, well, he hit me. Now I hit him. We're square and I won. Should it come down to that?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to come down to that unless something big happens here in the next 3.5 laps as we close in. The lead up to 10 seconds now for Cameron Rich. And Delicato just hanging on, hasn't been able to close in and make that move. We saw him challenge a couple times, but still not close enough. So the big question with Trupiano is how much did that damage really affect that 7 car? Not too much at all.
No, it didn't, unless that's just a product of the tires, of him driving aggressively up there, especially when we saw him race against Rich and try to hold on to that lead in lap traffic. Maybe burn out his tires a little, whereas Indelicato has maybe been saving his stuff and looks like he's not driving overly aggressively, but aggressive enough to keep him right there within a 10th of a second or so. Just to keep him right there, just set him up for a possible last lap fat pass right there for second place.
Be right on board with Indelicato right now. Oh, Trupiano slides up the hill there just a little bit. Open the door for Indelicato. Make the move though. He'll still settle into that 3rd place spot.
Yeah, Trupiano is holding on to that position as hard as he can. He's driving that car to the brink right now, as we've seen both on an in-car shot earlier in the race, and now at this moment, we're seeing him just hold on to that, trying to hold on to that second place finish. Not where he wanted to be coming to, I believe, 2 laps to go. But man, it is such a good race right now between these two guys, at least.
Oh, Trupiano barely hangs on to it there. That's going to open the door for Nick Indelicato, though. Didn't quite get the run out of the corner. Trupiano will hold on to it, coming back to 2 to go.
Man, and that is not what, and that is exactly what Indelicato wants to see. He wants to see Trupiano mess up. He doesn't want to put the bumper to him. I don't think he wants to move him out of the way. He wants him to beat himself, and that's what he's hoping for here with 2 laps to go here at Sonoma.
Guys, quick update from pit road. Johnny Thomas hit the curb too hard entering turn 4 and looped it. And then Cameron Rich said he does feel bad about the contact earlier with Andy Trupiano.
Yeah, no one's accusing that of being anything intentional. Just some incidental contact there. Trupiano just lost the back end of that race car. Fortunately, it wasn't in his favor of how that all played down, but he's done a great job holding on to second and trying to keep the 0-1 car behind him right now in this next lap and a half. Delicato looks like he's setting him up right now.
Oh, hold on to it. This is
Here
it.
he comes to the inside, and Delicato inside Andy Trupiano for second.
Leader has taken the white flag out here. And we
Push
are
wide though. Here comes Trupiano. Crossover move to the inside. Back to the stripe. 1 lap left to go. Man, this would be a great race if it was for the lead, but it's not. It's for second.
Yeah, it's definitely for bragging rights right now. Trupiano and Indelicato right here, trying to redeem himself from a little bit of lockup from Trupiano right there. But man, this is yeah, he's driving away from him right now. Maybe he's just trying to salvage that 3rd place finish that Trupiano is. Because the last thing you want to do right now is spin out, even though you have about a 10-second lead over the 4th place car. You don't want to be right here on the box right now, racing hard right here on the final lap and make a mistake and be a talking point at the end of the show.
Well, first time this season, we're going to go caution free, and it's going to come here at Sonoma. Cameron Rich has set sail here after a little bit of contact with Trupiano, and he's going to come down into turn 11 one more time here. All alone, got a lap car out in front of him, but no pressure from behind. Cameron Rich is going to come home and take the win here at Sonoma.
A well-deserved win right there. I know he feels bad for hitting Trupiano right there with the lap car, but that's racing, and Cameron Rich gets it done here at Sonoma.
Nick and Delicato going to come home for second. Andy Trupiano will get third. Chad Bear looks like he's going to come home for fourth, and Ryan Lutz might be able to hold on for a top 5 finish.
And if he does, I mean, that was such a great strategy call right there. I wonder where he started to where he finished right now, but either way, a good top 5 for Lutz. Very well deserved. Started 8th. Okay. Starting 8th.
He started 8th, but he was running 5th before he decided to stay out, and he ended up 5th. Okay. Leininger picked up some spots too.
Yeah, Nick Massey comes 6th. Damian Leininger comes 7th. Jared Rexing 8th. James Holzer 9th. It looks like Seth Rawls is going to round it out in 10th.
Ooh, a little bit of contact right there at the start-finish line.
Tommy Scott backs up his win last week with an 11th place finish. Joe Campbell 12th.
And I tell you what, if that accident right there coming to the checkered flag happened 2 laps ago, I think we'd be seeing a different race play out. But good job, Cameron Rich, on the victory. Who's that spinning down pit road right there? That's interesting. But it doesn't matter because Cameron Rich is going to do some celebratory burnouts right now and enjoy this victory. Well-deserved victory. Well-driven race all day. I don't think there's even a dent on that car. Well, yeah. Well, I take that back. Maybe there is a little bit of a dent right there from the contact between him and Trupiano, but yeah, I stand corrected right there. Thanks for calling me out there, Carlos. I really do appreciate that.
Carlos, you got Cameron Rich in victory lane again this week. Is that the second time you've got us here already this season, Carlos, with picking Cameron Rich? Well, I know this is his first win this season, but I think he finished highest out of all of our picks one other time this year already, too.
Oh, yeah, but that doesn't really matter. It's about the wins, baby.
Also, our picks went 1, 2, 3 right there, so that's pretty good.
Looks like we had the right guys here today. Won't happen probably the rest of the season, so we probably should soak this one in. But
I think I picked Joe Francis. He finished 16th. Okay, I'll take that.
So close.
Very close to the top 15 finish there. It's okay.
With the top, I think only 18 finishing on the lead lap, I would say a lead lap finish is a rather good result.
Yeah, it just seems like some people didn't get a control of this track as we saw throughout the course of the race. But I tell you, one person who did, Cameron Rich, he really did a great job holding on to that car the whole time. That one little bump might cause a little bit of dust up here or a little bit of controversy, but I think overall that was a racing finish. That was a racing incident right there.
all right, that's going to bring us into our interviews here for this one. David, do you want to lead the way, or I know you're having a little bit of Wi-Fi issues. Do you want us to take the lead on this?
You guys can roll the interviews here. I'll be back to it next week.
All right. So with that being said, let's start with your third place finisher here tonight, Andy Trupiano. All right, now we got him. Andy, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you. Yep.
All right, man. Car looks super fast out there tonight. Obviously, Didn't go exactly how you wanted to, but how'd you hold on to it there to salvage a third place finish?
Yeah, honestly, I just relied on the gap I had from the previous run. I mean, after I got spun there, I had damage and my tires were completely torched, so I was just hanging on for my life, honestly.
Andy, this is Matt. You had another great run this week, and man, I feel really bummed out that you got spun there. How do you feel about that whole situation? I mean, I feel like it was just a racing incident from up here. What did you see from your point of view right there?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of got bottled up behind that lapped car, and I guess he just got in a little too deep and got into me. And it's not ideal, but it happens. And I can deal with it and move on.
You rebounded route well, still finishing in the top 3 right there. Congratulations on that, even though it really didn't go the way you expected it.
Hey, thank you.
Andy, you got anyone you want to thank here before we let you go tonight?
Yeah, just give a shout out to my team, Lowline Racing, and my sponsors, AI Manager and Blacktop Software Studios. And that's about all I got.
All right. Thank you for coming up here tonight, and thanks for your congrats on your third place finish.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Maybe we could try to get Cameron Rich up here and talk about his run in there. It sounded to me that Trupiano thought that might have been a little bit of Cameron Rich's fault right there.
Yeah, we'll see if we can grab your second place finisher here first. We'll see if we can find Nick and Delicato, and then we will bring up your race winner, Cameron Rich, here in just a minute. And I'm going to grab Delicato and try to bring him up.
And what a race Nick had. I mean, battling right there, up there all day and just setting it up perfectly. Although the damaged car of Trupiano might have had a thing or two to do with it, Nick still held on to that car and came home in second.
Yeah,
Nick,
it was.
you got a copy?
Yeah, I'm here.
Go ahead.
No, it was a solid race. I mean, I really coming into this, I thought me and my team we had a lot of practice. We did really good. But I mean, at the front, Andy and Rich, they they drove their tails off at the end. I was sticking with them there for a little bit. I was like maybe 1.4 holding the gap. Thought I was saving tires, but after lap 15, my rears were just shot and there wasn't much I could do. I'm lucky I even got second, but top 3 is nice.
Yeah, I think you kind of just hit on my question there, Nick. I was going to ask, some guys were talking about possibly not trying to pit at all. Ryan Lutz actually didn't pit. Was that ever a consideration, or once you got to the lap 15, did you know you were going to have to come down pit road?
I mean, I knew I wanted to. Just the way it worked out, we were so far ahead. I didn't know Lutz didn't pit, so shout out to him because I don't know how he did that. It was just, I mean, it was a handful, and I expected it, and it was fun. And I had this race circled along with my team because road courses. I love road courses. We only get one a year, but in the end it didn't work out. But 3 top 5s out of the first 4 races this year is really nice, and should have had a win or another top 5 last week, but that's just how it goes. But other than that, looking forward to California.
And what can you take from? I mean, this was the one road course of the year, like you said. You came out here in a second place finish. Well done, by the way. I mean, how was it driving out there? The cars look like, especially from the in-car shots, like you were just on the edge of out of control the whole time. How difficult was it to drive here at Sonoma with these car of tomorrow vehicles?
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously 900 horsepower is it's not so easy compared to the next gen cars or the newer cars, but it was on the edge the whole time. I mean, you can mess up one corner and nail it the next lap. It was just, you had to be consistent. If you were consistent and save tires, you were really good. Other than that, I mean, it was a hell of a lot of fun to drive. I mean, it was out of control, but that's what some people like.
You did a great job up there, finishing second again. Before we let you go, do you want to thank anybody before we let you go here?
Yeah, no, shout out to my team, Shift Esports. We did a great job practicing this week. Obviously, some of the results didn't pan out the way we thought, but I mean, hell of a job by us practicing and putting in our laps. Also, shout out to the Mohawk Foundation, great foundation that sponsors our cars every week. Go check them out, go donate, and support the cause. Everybody else, SR Design as well. Seth Rawls, he's also in the field. He does a great job at making our paint schemes every week. So I can't say enough about that. And everybody else on the team just does an amazing job. So thank you.
Well deserved second place finish. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, and that'll bring in our winner here of the BatFlip podcast, 40 from Sonoma Raceway. Cameron Rich, you got a copy?
Yes, sir. What's up?
All right, man. Your car was definitely one of the top 2 cars all night long. You get it up there in the front after pit stops, battle your way up. Talk about how you got to the race lead, a little bit of contact there. I know it wasn't intentional on your part, but how you found yourself in the race lead there with about 15 to go.
Yeah, first off, I want to say sorry to Andy. That it sucks. Not intentional at all. We were just heating up for the lead there, and there was some lap traffic in the way. And I don't like racing like that. We were having a really good race up there for the lead, and I thought it was going to be a good show here on 3Y TV. But it was just really about managing the rear tires. I don't really think there was too many points in the race where I actually got 100% throttle. It was mostly like 80%. It was about the max you could get. So just kind of, the track temperature was super hot too, about 130 something at the start of the race. And there's just, those tires weren't going to survive that kind of temperature. So it was really just about kind of keeping them, as best going straight and not spinning as you could. And, I'm really finally glad to be able to finish the deal here, running in top 3 every race here all season. And I feel like something's happened to just mess it up every single time. And just really glad to be able to, finish somewhere where I feel like I should have finished.
Cameron, Matt here. Congratulations on the win. Just based on the in-car cameras, shots that we saw here and that Carlos brought up with you and your battling up there for the lead, it seemed like you were just in control the whole time in comparison to the other drivers, keeping that wheel very steady throughout the course of the race. First of all, how did you do that with the cars that are running right now? And secondly, how do you feel like that affected your tire wear throughout the course of the race to end up in victory lane?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, it was just about keeping it straight. And when you got all this extra horsepower, can't do much with it. It's really, really hard to keep it going straight. So, just kind of doing that there. I'm not really sure how I was able to do it better than everyone else. I am kind of I think I'm a decent road racer, but I was expecting, Andy and Nick and, of course the usuals to be right up there, kind of fighting with me, not a little bit behind. So just really glad. I guess looking at the season, if there was a race where I could pinpoint one just to try to get a win, it would be here. Because the competition is so strong in this league. It's so hard to get these wins each week in and out. There's such talent in here. So I'm gonna really enjoy this one while I can.
Well, Cameron, before we let you go, we'll let you thank some of your sponsors. But I do want to mention that Carlos has picked you every week when we pick a driver that's going to win the race. So he's very happy that you finally made him right and took him to victory lane this week.
I appreciate that. Yeah, Carlos is a homie. I love you. Just want to thank you guys. 3Y TV is always awesome. I've commentated from a little bit myself here in the past, and Carlos, he works his butt off, so definitely deserves all the accolades he can get. And you guys put on a really good show every week. I just love watching it. And of course, Brantley Roden at Harpoon Design, designing my car. I love that retro paint scheme out there every week. Really, really beautiful. Belly Up Sports and Kyle Hanshaw, my teammate, practiced with me last night. We got some good notes and definitely paid off for this week.
All right, man. We'll let you go celebrate your win here tonight. Congratulations on winning here at Sonoma.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
That was your race winner, Cameron Rich. Matt, David, any final thoughts before we sign off here tonight from Sonoma?
We saw another great race here in the ERSCA series and caution-free race. I was expecting at least one caution to bunch up the field, but we definitely saw the way Cameron drove the car, nice and smooth, stating he never went over 80% on throttle, which is amazing. He kept that car under control the whole race. It showed from the in-car cameras. Unfortunate that he got into that contact there, which I shouldn't put an asterisk, in my opinion, on his victory here, but definitely something to look forward to going to California.
If you're still with us, you got any final thoughts?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to being back in the booth next week. But that was a rock solid road course race. Another fantastic production of these ERSCA drivers as always. And yeah, just looking forward to get it back to normal a little bit.
I feel you right there with you, David. We appreciate Matt always stepping in here the last 2 weeks to fill our voids with our connection issues that we've had. But hopefully we'll see David back full time next week and keep Matt along when we can if we need to fill in a void. But that's going to do it here from Sonoma. Congrats to our top 3 on their podium finishes tonight, with Cameron Rich taking the win, Nick Indelicato and Andy Trupiano from the BatFlip Podcast 40 from Sonoma. Thanks everybody for watching. You're on Belly Up Sports and 3Y TV. For Matt, David, and Carlos, it's Dom Santina signing off. Hope you all have a great night. Thanks for watching.